Since we have been on this planet for a while and have adjusted it to create a comfortable living for ourselves, we sometimes forget that we share it with many remarkable animal species. Even though we may not be too often reminded, the animal kingdom surrounds us wherever we are. Among other similarities with humans, animals also seem to have bad days, and on these bad days, they can quickly show us why it is usually safer to keep our distance, as various events could cause them to act in unpredictable and dangerous ways. Today, we take a look at some of these occasions when animals went on a rampage and the camera caught it. Number 1. Biker attacked by a bear. From this first example, we will see that when being in the woods, one should tread lightly, as this is what could happen. This guy was enjoying a bike ride in the woods. Fresh air, green leaves, and a surprise were waiting for him. If you even think for a second that the surprise was pleasant, observe what the man's GoPro camera has caught. As he was getting prepared to take a ride, he noticed a huge bear running towards him. This would have been a gruesome story if he had allowed himself even for a moment to freeze. Luckily, the biker wasted no time and pedaled away as fast as he could. As he turns back to see how he is doing, he notices that the bear isn't giving up the chase. What made things worse was that, at one point, his path was blocked by a tree branch that seemed to have fallen. Again, the man's quick reaction saves the day. He gives up on the bike and takes a run. Imagine the adrenaline rush that he must have felt as he hid behind a tree and hoped for the best. Things turned out great as the bear briefly searched for him and ran off in another direction. Number 2. Man chases a moose away. The biker from the previous video has chosen that getting away may be the best tactic in the given situation. The guy in the next video decided to take another approach. This couple happened to stumble upon a moose. From the start, we see a man holding a stick, but he doesn't want to react prematurely, so we observe how the moose will behave. It would seem that on this day, it chose violence, but the man didn't have it. As he notices that the moose is preparing to charge at him, the man takes a step back and prepares to attack. Using the stick that he had as a spear, he takes a Spartan-like pose and prepares to strike. Apparently, the moose picked up that this could turn out bad for him and stood there, pausing his rampage for a second. After pondering this for a while, the moose decides that backing away may be the best course of action. Number 3. Snake charges at a man. The previous 2 examples have shown us that we shouldn't be surprised to find animals in nature. We will now see that even our backyard can be dangerous. If you haven't noticed it right away, there is a snake lying right next to the green bush we see in the backyard. The man we see walking around the house is going about his day and minding his own business. At one point, he wants to pick up the blue bucket from the yard, but as we know, this would be a bad moment to do so. What makes things worse is that he doesn't seem to notice the snake right away, and as he walks by, we see the snake starting to react. It moves around, and as the man crouches over, it launches at him. This much movement makes the man notice this impending danger, and we see him jump away to safety. Number 4. Eagle takes out a flying drone. To avoid assuming that the ground is the only place where we may find rampaging animals, we take a look at this next video. A drone captured this fascinating footage flying over the green landscape. The owner couldn't have known what would happen as he was driving it. The drone's flight and buzzing must have drawn the attention of a nearby eagle, and it decided to show us why they are called birds of prey. The eagle flew straight into the drone, striking it with its sharp talons. This made the drone fall to the ground, where the owner later found it and ended up with this amazing video. Number 5. A zookeeper almost gets eaten by a crocodile. We now know that not even skies above us are threat-free regarding rampaging animals. The following video shows us that placing animals in a zoo doesn't necessarily tame them. You know how sometimes even things that you have done a million times can go bad? When the thing you are doing is playing with a crocodile in front of a lively crowd, things could turn quite ugly. For the show of it, the keeper provokes the crocodile, but this time it has a fierce reaction and decides to go on a rampage. Leaving the water, the crocodile goes straight for the keeper. Luckily, the well-prepared professional doesn't allow this show to turn into a horrifying experience for the viewers and runs away, hiding behind a tree. Once the keeper is safe, the show can continue. In the end, the crocodile gets fed from a safe distance, even though it has a different meal in mind. Number 6. A kangaroo wrestled into submission. The zookeeper was lucky that a strong fence separated him from the crocodile. We will now discover that when such a barricade isn't available, one may need to take a more hands-on approach. From cartoons, we may have seen that kangaroos are often portrayed as good boxers. This video will show us that there is indeed some truth to it. A kangaroo we will see in it has decided to go on a rampage and initiate a brawl with a man. It first knocks the man to the ground, but this guy has decided that things aren't over. He gets up and starts swinging, even grabbing a stick to try to chase the kangaroo away. The fierce battle continues as neither contestant wants to throw in the towel. We can notice that even the dog in the background is quite riled up. These two soon end up grappling since the man has managed to throw the kangaroo on the ground. As time goes by, it becomes clear that the kangaroo seems to have chosen the wrong man to play with. After pulling one over on the kangaroo, the man manages to subdue the rampaging animal and ground it. Number 7. Why you shouldn't get near the tigers in the zoo. Let's look at another video that proves there is a reason we place fences between us and the animals in the zoo. Even the slightest slip-up on our end could be what causes a caged predator to react instinctively and go into hunting mode. This woman's hat had fallen near the tiger's cave, and she thought fetching it right in front of this beast was a good idea. It didn't take long for the tiger to show us that the fence that separates him from the woman is the only thing keeping her from becoming prey. It runs up to the cage, ready to grab itself a lively meal. Even as the woman climbs back to safety, the fierce cat keeps a close eye on her. If there could be someone who didn't get it from this video, please don't get near the cages that hold dangerous animals. Number 8. A humpback whale scares tourists. We shouldn't forget that most of our planet is covered with water and that this is also a big part of the animal kingdom. Passengers of this boat were enjoying the infinite blue surrounding them when they noticed a humpback whale nearby. This must have excited everyone, and some of them had their cameras out to capture this amazing sight. At that moment, another whale jumped out of the water very near the boat, surprising everyone and splashing them with water. If that whale surfaced just a bit closer, this video would have a different end. Number 9. A camper wakes up to find an unexpected guest. As this camper will find out, even though sleeping in nature may be relaxing, you never know what the morning will bring. Imagine you went camping in a forest, and as you wake up, you hear there could be something moving around your tent. Hoping that it is just the wind or a smaller animal, you try to open the tent and see what it is about. Now, picture the frightening realization that you are very much in danger since what you find is a bear. What makes things worse is that no help is available nearby. The best that this camper could hope for was that after quickly closing the tent and trying to barricade it, the bear would go away. As we see, the animal proceeds to go around the tent, poking at it and seeking an opening. Luckily, it seems to lose interest and leave the man alone. Number 10. A man gets attacked by a goose. No doubt, meeting a huge animal such as the bear from the last video can give us quite a scare. But when it comes to rampaging animals, it would seem that size doesn't matter. As this next video starts, we see a formally dressed man walking through a park. He doesn't pay much attention to his surroundings, and who could blame him? His mind is probably already focused on awaiting obligations. But what he has missed, besides the beautifully trimmed grass and bushes, is a hidden animal ready to strike. His path gets cut off by a goose, for those who may think to themselves, so what? Pay close attention, as geese are known troublemakers. Luckily, the man wasn't naive and immediately utilized the newspaper he was carrying to protect his face as the goose launched at it. He even swings it around to chase the bird away. But the goose doesn't even move an inch, keeping assassin-like calmness. Even after the man has managed to push it away, it launches a counterattack. It once again flies up to peck at the man's face, but he once again shows us what a swordsman he is. After several successfully executed parries, he manages to get away, never letting the goose out of sight. This seems to have been the right decision, as it charges one final time, but gets put in its place by a well-executed kick. Number 11. A boar charges through a busy street. By now, we have seen that we could stumble upon a rampaging animal almost anywhere. This next case will confirm just how unexpected these occurrences can be. Similarly to the previous case, this man was having a regular day. The streets are busy, everyone is going about their business, and everything seems in order. But as we will see, things will become quite weird in just a second. As this person is waiting for the lights to turn green, the camera nearly gets blown away by a charging wild boar. It seems to be in quite a hurry, considering how quickly it runs away. Number 12. Man chased by a bear. This next example we could introduce by asking, why did the man cross the road? Well, apparently he was chased by a bear. Again, we see an irregular scenario where a wild animal is placed in an unusual surrounding. What makes it even more surreal is that a man appears to be having a phone call right next to the bear. It could be that he also can't believe his eyes, but it doesn't take long before he is forced to have a reality check. Immediately as the bear gets near him and starts swinging, the man makes a run for it. After almost slipping because of the snow, he decides that the best course of action is to run across a street, and hopefully the traffic will hinder the bear's chase. This turned out to be the right decision, as the pursuit was cut short by a bus that blocked the bear's advance. Number 13. A photographer almost captures his own demise. Indeed, we have seen that troubles may find us even in a busy city. However, not all cases of animal rampaging are unprovoked. Wildlife photographers certainly don't have it easy. This guy was trying to create some amazing shots when he encountered a pride of lions. While the lion that has taken the central stage definitely seems photogenic, this doesn't make him any less dangerous. He even appears to stare directly at the camera lens. Again, it's a great thing for the photo, but maybe not for the photographer. As the lion draws near, the guy seems to understand that it is time to get away from this apex predator. The chase that follows once again makes us consider whether getting such amazing shots is really worth the risk. Number 14. Elephant takes on a car. We have seen that a camera can provoke quite an intense reaction from a lion. Moving cars may have a similar effect on this tremendous animal. It takes less than a second for us to understand that this elephant doesn't appreciate being followed around. By marching right up to the car, it makes its statement and warning quite clear. The driver, who also seems to get the message, drives away from the incident that could have occurred if the elephant's patient had been tested further. Number 15. Bull elk threatens a car with its antlers. This next animal also seems to have intense feelings about cars. As if his huge antlers weren't threatening enough, this bull elk emits pride and confidence even through his walk. Unbothered, it crosses the street right in front of the car. The driver understands that it wouldn't be a good idea to provoke its rage and waits patiently for the elk to leave. The elk, however, had other plans. It suddenly changed its trajectory and pointed its antlers toward the car threateningly. The level-headed driver first tried to back away, but since this didn't seem to change the elk's attitude, he drove away, avoiding damage. Number 16. A swan attacks a dog. Until now, we have seen that animal rampage can be triggered by anything. As we will learn, ruckus can appear even as a result of animals beefing. All the brawls up until now were between humans and animals. To set up this next stage, we could say that in the right corner, there is a beautiful but furious white swan who appears to be the challenger. In the left corner, there is a dog on a leash who doesn't seem to understand the situation entirely. Since it had to spell it out, the swan spread its wings and made itself bigger. Not even this was enough, as we see the dog's tail wagging and announcing his playfulness. Since neither the dog nor its owner seems to take it seriously, the swan moves on to a fence, attacking the dog with its wings. After briefly retreating and observing the situation from a close distance, the swan seems to be satisfied with the outcome, even though the dog still seems unaware of what just happened. Number 17. Sheep versus fisherman. This next example will show us a sheep that harbors a deep hatred for the fisherman. Either that, or it has taken on the role of a vigilante protecting the fish. You know that moment when you become aware that something is inevitably going to happen and you can't do much but stand and watch as it unfolds. Well, besides bringing us this picturesque natural panorama, the following video also puts us in that position. We can almost see the sheep's intention appear and take form. It planned everything without a rush, and the execution seemed perfect. Considering that he had no idea what was brewing behind his back until it was too late, this must have been quite a shock for the fisherman. The sheep, however, refuses to give him a chance to recover and chases him away from the lake. Number 18. Hawk attacks a kitten. We move on to another example that shows a clash of civilization and the instinctive behavior of a bird of prey. The swift attack that the hawk executes doesn't allow us to fall for the cute cat sitting on the car's dashboard. Since it only lasted a moment, it isn't surprising that the kitten wasn't even aware of what was happening. Considering how well it did, even the hawk seems entirely baffled that this pet hasn't already been turned into a meal. Unable to comprehend the windshield, it gives it another shot and displays its deadly talons to the viewers. It even seems to pause and inspect the circumstances briefly. Since they don't make sense to the hawk, it tries again and finally confirms the existence of an invisible force field that has kept it away from its helpless prey. Number 19. Ram that refuses to have bikers cross his road. The next video brings us an intriguing turn of events. Apparently, this ram has decided to put a stop to any traffic on this road. This ram has positioned himself in the middle of the road, determined to hold his ground. The driver tries to make it step away by waving his hands and moving his front wheel. It makes a few steps back, but doesn't give up on the idea of barricading the road. Using the space it has created, it does what it is good at. It rams the bike. This hit seems to have been a wake-up call that the driver needed. He understood that this situation could be more serious than he had imagined. Realizing that the ram wouldn't budge, the driver left the bike behind and ran to safety. Since he doesn't want to leave the bike behind, he returns to pick it up. This triggers the ram to almost charge at him again, but it gets swayed as the driver waves his hand around. After securing the bike, the driver approached the ram, and this encounter turned into another kind of battle. These two have taken each other head-on, and at one point, holding its horns and luring it away from the biker managed to free the road and make a run for it. However, as he tries to drive away, the ram once again proves that he is relentless and blocks the road. Finally, chasing the rat with a wooden stick, the man slips through and escapes. We could mention that in this case, the ram wasn't just rampaging out of the blue. Instead, it seems to have been protecting its family. Number 20. A moose that doesn't like being filmed. We were shown that lions can be very opposed to being recorded. In this next video, we will see a moose with a similar attitude. This man underestimated this moose's hate for being filmed. We see him even having a smile on his face as he is trying to capture footage of the moose. As we would expect, this smile will soon enough be wiped off of his face. Even though we can't immediately recognize it, the animal doesn't like this intrusion at all, and at first, we even see it proceed to eat, but its attitude soon changes for the worse. The man with the camera tried to walk away, but this wasn't the right decision as it triggered the animal. Soon, the moose started chasing them, and even once they tried to retreat, the moose didn't give up and kept going at those recording it. Luckily, at the end of the video, we see they have successfully escaped the dangerous situation. Number 21. Ram suddenly attacks the farmer. In some of the previous examples, we have seen that animal rampages can be provoked, but as we will see, it isn't always so. Instead, these attacks are sometimes unexpected and can leave us quite startled. However, this experienced farmer is prepared at all times. As soon as the ram strikes him from the back, we see him jumping over the fence, ensuring he's safe from consecutive hits from the back-stabbing ram. At the beginning of this list, we could have thought that animal rampages don't occur in our surroundings. As we have seen, concrete walls and tall buildings may have created the illusion that we can't really come across such animal behavior. On the other hand, we now know that bikers, hikers, campers, drivers, or simple bystanders can all be shaken by an unexpected rampage of various animals. While some of the cases we examined may have been instinctive behavior and examples of nature doing its thing, others were provoked. The best we can do is try not to be the reason these unpredictable behaviors occur. Thank you for watching.